She called me worthless and laughed. It wasn't the first time Sarah had said something cutting, but that night it was different. Maybe because her friends were there, maybe because she wanted to make them laugh. I was sitting at the far end of the dining table, half listening to their stories, pretending to belong in a world where I clearly didn't fit anymore. Worthless, she repeated, this time smiling to her friend Emma, who nearly choked on her wine. He couldn't even fix the faucet last week. I had to call a plumber. Her words hung in the air, sharp and humiliating. I could feel the heat crawl up my neck as the table erupted in laughter. I tried to smile, but it came out crooked, bitter. Sarah looked at me like I was supposed to laugh too, as if I was in on the joke. That's when something in me just snapped. I didn't yell. I didn't throw a drink or make a scene. I simply stood up, pulled my jacket off the chair and said quietly, "I'll leave you all to it." And I walked out. The night air outside her apartment was cold, crisp, almost freeing. I could still hear their laughter echoing faintly behind me as I got into my car. My hands were shaking, not from anger but from something emptier. I sat there for 10 minutes staring at the steering wheel. We'd been together 4 years. I'd supported her through grad school, paid most of the rent when she was between jobs, and celebrated every little success of hers like it was my own. But lately she'd been distant. The dinners became quieter, the texts shorter, the affection rarer. It wasn't until that night I realized I had become invisible, to her at least. I started the car and drove aimlessly through the city lights. I didn't go home. Instead, I ended up at the small 24-hour diner near the river. I ordered coffee I didn't really want and just sat there watching the rain hit the window. My phone buzzed. One message from Sarah. "You're being dramatic." It was just a joke. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. It wasn't funny. She didn't respond. 2 days passed before I went back to our apartment. Her shoes were still by the door, her perfume still in the air. But she wasn't there. A note sat on the counter. "Staying with Emma for a bit. Need some space. Don't overthink it." Space. That word again. Every modern breakup starts with space. I spent that weekend cleaning. Not because the place was messy but because I needed something to control. I folded laundry, scrubbed dishes, even fixed the damn faucet she'd mocked me for. Took 15 minutes. By Monday I had accepted something I'd been avoiding. She didn't respect me anymore. A week later I saw something that confirmed it. Emma posted a photo on Instagram. Sarah smiling holding a glass of wine, same friends, same circle, but a new guy beside her. His hand was on her back. The caption read, "Good vibes, only dizzy sparkles." No names, no tags. But I knew. The way her eyes leaned toward him in that picture, soft, relaxed, was the way she used to look at me. That night I didn't confront her. I didn't message Emma or go through her phone. Instead I opened my laptop. I had an idea, not revenge in the loud, angry sense. Something quieter, sharper. You see, Sarah and I had started a small business during the pandemic. A handmade decor brand. I handled the back-end, website, sales, customer service. She handled marketing and design. The company name and domain were both under my name because I had set them up. She'd forgotten that. So I logged in. I didn't delete anything or sabotage the business. I just took what was mine, the designs I'd created, the contacts I'd secured, the partnerships I'd nurtured, and launched my own version under a new name, Riverlight Home. I left everything else intact. Then I sent her a short email. "The business is now split. You can keep what's yours. I'll keep what's mine. Hope you do well." No anger. No accusations. Just closure. 2 weeks later she showed up at my door. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically but in spirit. Her voice trembled when she spoke. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Tell you what?" I asked. "That you were leaving. That you were ending everything." I looked at her for a long time, searching for the right words. Finally I said, "Because you already did. You just didn't say it out loud." She bit her lip. "It wasn't what it looked like with Mark. We were just talking." I nodded. "I believe you." She seemed relieved until I added softly, "But I also believe what I felt, and that was enough." There was silence then. Not angry silence. Just finality. She glanced around the apartment like it was unfamiliar territory. "You fixed the faucet," she said quietly. Yeah, I replied. Turns out it wasn't that hard. Months passed. Riverlight Home started doing better than I expected. Orders came in steadily, and people appreciated the authenticity behind the work. I'd tell little stories about each design, how imperfections made things beautiful, how cracks could be mended without erasing their history. Sometimes when I wrote those captions, I thought about her, about how words could wound deeper than betrayal ever could. One evening, as I was packing orders, I got a message request on Instagram. It was Sarah. Saw your new page. It's beautiful. I'm happy for you. I stared at it for a while, then typed back. Thank you. Nothing more. I didn't block her, didn't delete the message. Just let it sit there like a leaf floating on calm water. It's been a year now. People often ask me how I managed to forgive. Truth is, I didn't. Not entirely. Some nights her laughter still echoes in my head. That moment when she called me worthless and everyone laughed like it was harmless fun. But I've learned something since then. You don't always need to scream or seek revenge to prove your worth. Sometimes walking away quietly without explanation is the loudest thing you can do. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real power I found in losing her. Because I wasn't worthless. I was just misplaced in her world, not mine. Now I'm exactly where I belong.